What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into the episode of My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Sleaze. The last episode of the day. I am exhausted. The trade deadline. Today, we're going to be diving into 5 smash start wide receivers, and this is a brutal week of matchups, guys. This is very tough matchup week for wide receivers, so we're going to have to dive in to some higher names here instead because it's really hard to find some of those smash plays here. I will also show you my transparency from last week because I like to show you my hits and misses so I can be better for myself and be better for you guys as well. So before we dive into it, guys, as always, make sure you tap that like button, hit that subscription, turn that bell on. It helps me out a ton. I can't thank you guys enough for all the support this season. And if you have any comments, questions, you can always drop them down below. It doesn't have to pertain to this video. I try to answer every single one of them. It's becoming crazy, but I promise I'll try my best there. And if you haven't checked out the sponsor, drafters.com, make sure you sign up using promo code SLEAZE. Do best ball drafts, pick'ems, DFS. I will be doing those live Friday. And then I'll be also live Thursday for the Start Sit Show. And then we're live all weekend long. And you can also check out the Guys FF Discord right here. Both those will be pinned in the comments and in the description of the video. Now let's dive into my 5 smash start wide receivers who are going to give you a floor of 12 plus points with 20-point upside and TD upside this week, guys. Starting off with smash start wide receiver number 1, it is going to be Ladd McConkey. But first, like I said, we like to look back. So this is my Twitter. My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Sleaze. Well, if you want to check that out, we're almost at 25K followers there. All the support's appreciated there as well, too. So the goal is to have just a 12-point floor with 20-point upside for wide receiver, which Ladd McConkey did not even hit last week with 9 points. But looking back at last week, I hit all 3 QBs, Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams, Sam Darnold. Running back Kyle Manunja was the number 1 guy you had to have in your lineup no matter what. Kamani Vidal just did not do anything against the whack run D of the Tennessee Titans. That was I can't even believe that was an aberration. It was crazy. Chase Brown hit, Travis Etienne hit, Javonte Williams and the Cowboys lost to Jacoby Brissett. Bad showing there. Jalen Waddle was an early hit in the week. Rome Odunze in a 90-point game had 0, which is bonkers. Marvin Harrison Jr. is back to life with Jacoby Brissett. We hit that. DK Metcalf, big miss there. Travis Hunter was ruled out, so after I posted it, so I just took a caution sign there. And then on the tight end side, I did take the X's for Kyle Pitts with 9.8 and Zach Ertz with 10.6 because that's not a 12-point floor for them. Even though it's a decent play, I still take the hit on what I'm trying to call there. And then Mark Andrews, if you guys were in the show, I liked him for anytime TD lock, and he smashed 2 of those. So now we got to dive into Ladd McConkey here, where you're going to get the Sunday night football matchup with the 5-3 Steelers, 6-3 Chargers. Big AFC playoff implications on the line here. 44.5 over-under. Chargers are favored by 2.5 in this game. Now, Chargers have also lost Joe Alt. They did just trade for Trevor P. from the Saints, so that could bring in a little help for their offensive line that they need. But with Joe Alt, it really does change the Chargers offense completely. So what we're going to look at is we're going to look back at how the Steelers are versus the slot wide receiver, which is where Ladd McConkey mainly mains. Who scored last week against the Steelers in that position? Josh Downs did. And Josh Downs had 9 targets for 57 yards and a touchdown in that game. And you know that Darius Slay got banged up in that game as well. So now we're looking at the Chargers here, and we're looking at the offense of how it's going to go in their run game. And you just saw, man, the Pittsburgh Steelers just stymied Jonathan Taylor. So Kamani Vidal, they're probably in for a rough run game here as well. So when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the wide receiver right now, currently on the season, they rank in right now at, and I'm missing to see it for some reason here. Oh, don't worry. It's dead last, number 32. That is the highest paid secondary defense in the NFL, and they are dead last versus the wide receiver, giving up 41 points a game, 1,572 yards, which is dead last, 7 touchdowns to go with it. And like I said, they just gave a touchdown to Ladd McConkey. Quentin Johnston's going to draw a bunch of attention. Rondé Gadsden's drawing attention. Keenan Allen, always a threat. This is going to be a big Ladd McConkey game, and he is going to smash for a 12-point floor with major 20-point upside in this game. Sorry, I got the hiccups. Smash start wide receiver number 2, and like I said at the beginning of the video, I cannot believe that we had a 47-42 Bears win over the Bengals, and Rome Odunze had a freaking goose egg. But I am not giving up hope yet. So in this matchup this week, you're going to get the game that I'm targeting across the board in fantasy football because both these secondaries are very, very beat up, and the Bears defense is beat up to the max too. So you have a 48.5 over under with the New York Giants in this game, right? And if you look back here, we're also going to throw back here and see Juan Jennings scored against the Giants last week in the receiving game. You also saw Christian McCaffrey destroy them through the air, which is what type of DeAndre Swift role he will play. Kittle and Bourne didn't do that much. Sky Moore had a couple catches here and there. But when you're looking at the matchup here, and like we said, 48.5 over under, now let's look at the New York Giants versus the wide receiver. 36.8 points, ranking 26th. They've given up 117 receptions, which is second worst in the NFL just in volume, with 1,509 yards, which is third worst in the NFL, and 11 touchdowns. So, yeah, it's an ugly game, and you're probably going to be like, I should bench him because of a 0. I cannot recommend you to do that here because this matchup is just too damn good. And Jackson Dart can keep the Giants offense in the game without Malik Neighbors or without Cam Scatterbo with a terrible offensive line because he's that good of a quarterback. And this Bears defense is beat up, like I said. So this is possibly another shootout game that we are looking at here. And this is why I want to target this game heavy. And do not bench Romo Dunze because of a 0. He is going to bounce back and smash this week. Smash start number 3. Don't give up hope on the rookie Ted McMillan, who's had 2 of his last 3 games under 10 points of fantasy football. He is going to get the New Orleans Saints this week. And just think about what Matt Stafford did to this secondary last week. Devontae Adams shredded him. Puka Nacua shredded him. Obviously, those are different breeds and a different quarterback with Matthew Stafford. And you have to look at Bryce Young's game versus Green Bay, which is one of the toughest defenses, and somehow the Carolina Panthers pulled out a win. Now, when we're looking at this week here, right? So it's a 40.5 over under. They're favored by 5.5. The Panthers are 5-4. They're chasing 6-4 here, right? Now, when you look at the Saints here, and they just traded away Rashid Shaheed. So how much better is their offense going to be? And we saw Tyler Shuck, and I said it through all my videos that they're throwing Tyler Shuck to the wolves with the Los Angeles Rams defense, and goddamn, it was a nightmare, and he targeted Rashid Shaheed heavy, and now Rashid Shaheed is gone. Their offense is going to struggle even more, and the Panthers defense just locked up the Green Bay Packers offense. So the volume chances of the Panthers offense here is going to be immaculate. But what you got to look at here and why the breakout is like still imminent to me with Ted McMillan as the wide receiver 1 is just look at the targets here. 26.2, that's elite wide receiver 1 usage at number 15. He's still a wide receiver 1 usage snap share. Route participation, 96.4, still wide receiver 1 usage. Red zone targets and deep targets both at 9. Both those are top 30. And he's wide receiver 20 on the year with 108.8. Now, you're going to get the Saints, and like we said, they traded away Rashid Shaheed. They know their season's pretty much over. They should have traded away Alvin Kamara, too, if I was, running the Saints there. But they rank 17th. They give up 32 points a game to the wide receiver, 1,220 yards, 11 touchdowns, which is bottom 3 in touchdowns allowed. Get the 6'5" man in the end zone this week. I think he's only scored twice in like week 6 in that game. It's the only touchdowns he has on the year. I am calling an anytime touchdown for Ted McMillan this week against the New Orleans Saints at home in Carolina, and he's going to smash for 20-plus points this week. Smash start number 4 is going to be the red zone monster, Davante Adams. And we don't even know if Puka Nacua is going to be out here either, which is another worrisome thing. So he's getting a scan on his rib, so we don't know if he's going to play. And are they going to need him to beat my 49ers beat-up defense with Sean McVay after losing to us last time? I don't even think they're going to need Puka Nacua this week. But you also got to look at Davante Adams. Has 5 touchdowns in the last 2 games. He has 8 touchdowns in the last 6 games. This guy is just a red zone machine. Look at the red zone targets there on the board. 17, number 1 in the NFL. I told you he would be a top 10 wide receiver this year before the season started, and everyone got, oh my God, Puka Nacua. I'm like, dude, Matthew Stafford's going to feed them both. And Puka Nacua could probably do it in half a season with how good he's been. And Davante Adams is wide receiver 8 right now. So let's look back. They're going to get the 49ers this week. Like I said, we're beat up across the board. Fred Warner, the number 1 linebacker in football, down. Nick Bosa, a top 3 D end, is down. Michael Williams, our number 1 pick in the draft, is down for the season. The hits just keep on coming for my San Francisco 49er defense, and it just hasn't been able to stop anything. Even though we got the win versus the Giants last week, who don't even have a great wide receiver core, they still had 200 yards passing with Slayton Wandale Robinson, and I believe I'm trying to think of Theo Johnson found the end zone, and Gunnar Oslesky found the end zone on this, but that's the name I remember. So now you put Matthew Stafford in this situation. He's going to absolutely light up our defense, man. Kyron Williams going to have a big game here as well. And when you look at the 49ers, we've just been sliding, man. We were top 10 before all the injuries. Now we're 22nd versus the wide receiver, getting up 34 points a game. We've given up 114 receptions, which is bottom 10, 1,391 yards, which is bottom 10, and 8 touchdowns, which is bottom 10. The injuries are just massively piling up, and even if Puka Nacua is out there, I still like Devontae Adams to smash in this game because this guy is just a red zone machine. Last but not least, number 5 is going to be Courtland Sutton of the Denver Broncos. Coming off I didn't like him last week either. Coming off that matchup versus the Texans, obviously he got the 30-yard catch for a touchdown to save his day, but that was really the only catch that he had. He did have 6 targets, but they were all tough. The Texans D is one of the best Ds in football. And then you saw Troy Franklin with 10 targets because Courtland Sutton was the main focal point they were taking away. And look at the receptions. He only had 4 receptions on those 10 targets. That's how good that Texans D is versus the pass, and that D-line gets after you, causing the throws to be different, right? So you're probably owning Courtland Sutton right now, and you're down on him because he had 1 catch last week. Do not fret. You are going to get Thursday Night Football versus the Las Vegas Raiders, who Parker Washington was the wide receiver 1 till BTJ went down. He had 55 yards, and then Parker Washington put up 90 yards versus the Las Vegas Raiders. You're telling me that Courtland Sutton is not going to? You are crazy. The Las Vegas Raiders are 29th versus the wide receiver, giving up 38.5 points per game, 112 receptions, which is bottom 10 in just receptions, 1,321 yards, which is bottom 10 there as well, and 9 touchdowns as well, which is another bottom 10 category. And they've traded away Jacoby Myers. You know that Ashton Genty's going to have a very tough time on the ground versus the Denver Bronco run D. And they're going to focus up on Brock Bowers, so the volume of the game is going to lead so much in the Broncos' favor. I even love Courtland Sutton for an anytime touchdown, and he is going to smash in Week 10. Thanks for rocking with me today. That is the end of the episodes, and that is the end of the episodes for today. That is my 5 smash start wide receivers based on the matchups, based on the game scripts, and based on the defensive injuries that I gave you in the clip, guys. As always, on your way out, make sure you tap that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Turn that bell on so you know when I'm live or when you know when I post any content. If you want to check out the sponsor, drafters.com, make sure you sign up using promo code SLEAZE again. And then the guys' FF Discord, that is pinned in the top of the comments and in the description of the video. Tomorrow, we are going to dive into all the start sits, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. I'm going to give you possibly a new design on the side as well, so I can give you the high-end, low-end flex play instead of just breaking it down, so I can show you in visual terms. So we'll dive into that tomorrow. That's it for me today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Sleazebomb out.